All right, y'all. Welcome back and happy Wednesday. It's time for our fall camp day number one insider news notes and my personal thoughts. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to start with the injuries heading into fall camp. There's no reason for us to be, tripping out about this because we're probably more healthy than most programs heading into fall camp. We have two guys that we don't really know where things are at. Well, really, Jordan Thomas, he's not going to be playing for us in 2025. And people will keep on asking about this more than likely. So I'll just keep this up for every video that we do. But just understand that he's probably not going to be playing for us. Cole Harrison sounds like he's out for now, but I think he'll be back at some point this year. Not quite sure on what the timeline is there. And if y'all look at the key up in that top right, it's going to tell you, what the different colors mean as far as how serious these injuries are. So Jamal McCoy, is he going to be back by that Georgia game? I think that he will. I mean, people are kind of, tripping out about Coach Heupel not giving a timeline, but he doesn't really say a whole lot about it, injuries typically. So we'll see. From what I had heard previously, it sounded like he was pretty close to like that final stage where he's already kind of like running on it. He's got to start cutting on it, which I guess that's a huge step because whenever you're talking about a knee, I mean, there's a whole lot of force that goes into those cuts. So if he can do it gradually without any setbacks, he should be fine. Was there a setback? I haven't heard nothing about that just yet. So hopefully he doesn't have it. If he doesn't have any, I would expect him back by that Georgia game. And if he's not back, y'all, I think that we can still win it because our secondary looks just tremendously good. All right, so Chris Brazzell, he's out for this week, but he will be back next week. So all that really means is that some of the other wide receivers got some more reps, especially walk-ons. I think that that's critical for this team. And Christian Gass, okay, it sounds like he was doing some rehab work as well. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's a freshman. Leo, I think he was listed at like 217, so probably couldn't play for us at Leo this year unless he just gained a whole bunch of weight. It would probably take some steroids or something to gain that much weight in such a short period of time. But maybe special teams, he could have helped Tennessee out. And I also think it's like a stand-up middle linebacker. He could have helped us out there too if the staff wanted to do that. I don't know that they do. And then Miles Kissman, he actually practiced, but he was limited with the contact. I think that maybe by probably closer to like the start of the season, he'll start actually getting contact. He doesn't really need it. He's played so much football. He doesn't need to go through all the, banging and stuff. So like I've said, I think that he will be back by that Syracuse game. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the players that we got to listen to speak to the media today. Mostly freshmen, so just young guys. Actually, I think it might have been all freshmen. Yeah, it was. It was all freshmen. So number one, Jaden Harmon. Just a couple of my takeaways for each of these guys. He talks about Edwin Spillman being a really good leader. I think that's huge because Spillman was a freshman last year. These guys are having to grow up really, really quickly. Also talks about Coach Inge being the best coach that he's ever had on and off the field, and it's really not even close. Love hearing that. He said the AC and JT are both really good leaders. Now, Jaden P. So both of these first Jadens, these guys are freshman linebackers. So Jaden P. He talks about being used to the pace of practice coming from Buford. He said, things are pretty much similar. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit different and faster once you get to the SEC level. But, he said that he feels fine with things. That's a great thing. Also says that for him, he thinks that he can play on all three levels of a defense. We talked about that too. Just a very versatile player. He played star at Buford, which is like it's like an everything hybrid. It's like hey, this is a freaking gadget piece, and he can do everything sort of a guy. So that's who Jaden is. And he also drew all of his tattoos. I didn't know that he was, like a good artist, but man, some of his work is all of his work that I've seen, just like with his tats, is excellent. So that's cool. That's dope to have players that are versatile, kind of like on and off the field. Also said that he's learning from the vets. Says that he loves Coach Inge. All of our linebackers, man. I think that Coach Inge might be maybe the most loved coach on this team. Him and Coach G. Always hear great things. Just speaking on those coaches. So next is Isaiah Campbell. He is now a freshman defensive tackle. He's saying that he's learning to love playing there. At first, he felt like he wanted to do more edge, but tackle is going to fit him very, very well. So he's up to 285 right now. And I think that he could play it that way. We talked about him looking jacked. His arms look really big. He can keep on filling out. Does he really need to, though? I think that he could play at 285. If he can gain more weight, like really clean weight, just naturally without having to do too much, then that's, even better. You would like him playing at about 290, but he's such a strong guy that I think that he'll be fine. I would anticipate that he's going to get some playing time for sure for us in 2025. And I also want to point this out, y'all, that he has a really good spirit. Like sometimes you can just tell whenever God really is working through somebody and working with them, but he has that spirit. And I think that he's going to do great. I think he's going to do absolutely great. Just listening to him speak, his mindset is where it should be. So looking forward to that. He talked about Coach G being real, which we all know that. I think that's part of the reason that those young guys grow up so quickly in Coach G's room because he's not sugarcoating stuff. Hey, look, you're messing up here, doing well there. So the players know anytime the Coach G gives them some love, it's something that they really earn. You know, I think he always loves on them, but of course he's going to be hard on them too. So, and he also talks about getting stronger and getting faster. Next is Tyler Redmond, who I think is going to be, I think he's going to be really good for Tennessee moving forward. And I think that he could help us out this year. Just his mindset, which he's always been like this. You know, I've known him since he was 5, but he's been the exact same way. He's just like a grown man in a younger person's body. But he said that he's only playing a corner, something that we speculated on. Would they try to move him around to star or to safety? I think that it says something that they want him sticking at corner. It means that they really like him. And we'll talk more about the secondary here in just a second. But he said that he's learning from those vets. He said he's taking more notes. It's something that he had to learn coming from high school. He didn't take as many notes, but now he's looking at the splits and the different things. That definitely will help him out. That's one of the typically, veterans understand that. For him to be understanding it as a freshman in fall camp, he's going to be very, very good. Obviously, he's really long and he's got all the skills. So, he said he's not worried about starting right now. He's just worried about getting better every single day. So, love that. And he's big on the fundamentals. So, that's always huge. I think that cornerback, again, once you get to this level, most people are kind of, very similar with their skill sets. They're all really good athletes, right? But once you get into the stuff with the fundamentals, with the watching more film, that's what separates players. So Tyler Redmond is going to be perfectly fine. Now, Ethan Utley, last guy, he did confirm that he only weighs 270 pounds. So he came up at 251. He has gained about 20 pounds. He actually said that after practice, he weighed in at 270 coming into practice. After practice, he was at 264. So that's pretty light playing at tackle, for SEC. I think that it's pretty light. Can he still do it? More than light. I mean, I would say maybe. We'll have to see. Once the pads come on, we're going to know about everybody. But he also, really all these kids, they have a really good spirit about him. But, I'm looking forward to him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. Can he gain some more weight or, where does the staff want to put him at? But I think that Tennessee could definitely use some more help at tackle. And he's also saying that Coach G, he starts fall camp off being tough on the players, which is good. That's what Coach G does. He's just setting that tone so that people understand, hey, this is what it's going to be like all year long. So I think that that's beautiful. The entire D-line is going to be incredible. And then he also talks about, like, one of the mantras of this entire team is there's no time to be young. These guys are growing up really, really quickly, and I'm just talking about freshmen. All right, so now let's get to the insider news and notes, and of course, I'll be sharing my thoughts with it. So, number one, let's talk about quarterbacks. It sounds like Jake Merklinger got most of the first team reps, which is what we thought. Obviously, he's been here for such a long time. He should be getting them first, or maybe not for such a long time, but for longer than anybody else. So he should be getting those first team reps. And it also sounds like they were throwing more slants, which is big. We talked about Tennessee's some of the scheme changes last year. We barely ever threw slants. Now we're doing more of it. That's huge. Okay, it's a simple route, but you have to have it in your offense. And we're also running some post corners. So that's a double move route. So, some people might know that a post goes to the inside and then a corner goes back to the outside. Tennessee hasn't run a post corner maybe since 2022. Like I could be off on that. Like we might have run the route maybe like one or two times. I don't know if we've thrown it to one since 2022. And it might have to go back to 2021. So that's some Alex Golish stuff. That's an Alex Golish red zone special. Okay. Like once he gets really, I would say, like inside of the 30, he's looking for that post corner. That's beautiful. You have to trust your offensive line to be able to throw those types of routes. You also need to have wide receivers that are fast enough to run those. So that's where having some young guys that are really good athletes helps us out. And that's a pass that I think that all of our guys will throw very well. So outside of that, with the quarterbacks, there was one site that said that Joey Aguilar's footwork and fundamentals looked the best. Now, that was something that I didn't see because in the quarterback pocket presence drill that we saw earlier today on this channel, I think that Joey Aguilar looked the most uncomfortable in that drill. I think that's the best way for me to say it. And the other two really just looked better. Now, it wasn't horrible, but you could tell he wasn't even used to doing that. That's a pretty basic drill. Didn't feel like he was used to doing it. So that's interesting. And also heard that Merck was probably like the most consistent guy. Joey Aguilar missed some stuff, and that GMAC flashed. So that's what you would expect. Day number one, the guy that's been here the longest should look the best, okay? And we'll see how the things change, especially once those pads come on. Because it could look one way today, tomorrow could look totally different. But then I think that the pads might come on actually tomorrow. Either way, throwing motion and all that stuff, it could change just a little bit because you have on shoulder pads. Didn't have that on today. So long way to go. Still very, very early. And what else was there? So Aguilar, he had some nice touchdown, maybe touchdown passes, or I don't know, maybe just like some deeper passes to Miles Kitselman. And also there was one to Mike Matthews. I know that him and Kid, they're going to be on the same page. So he's going to look for him a lot. And it also sounds like it was really good catches by both of those players. So that's pretty much all that we have there. Just for me personally, I think that, yes, you got to start the fall camp off with the veteran, being able to take the lead. But at some point, I do feel like Joey Aguilar might be able to work himself into that first team role. He's going to get some reps there. I'm sure that he will get some reps there. You have to let these guys rep first team, second string, and just see who looks better with which group. Ultimately speaking, I still feel like Joey Aguilar will get the start for us versus Syracuse. Could things maybe be subject to change as the season wears on, or even prior to fall camp ending? 100%, because Merck is not a slouch. Merck can ball now, and I think that he's going to be on his game, knowing that he's got that real competition. As far as GMAC, I think if he was maybe like a little bit heavier, right, that he could play. And it's not his fault that he's like 6'7", 6'8". You know what I'm saying? Like, he's going to have to gain so much weight. He's probably got to be like 230, 235 before he even looks like he's solid, where you can kind of trust him out there. You know what I'm saying? So he's got, I think, a little bit of a ways to go just from that standpoint. But if he did have the weight, I think that he would be the guy. Okay, I'll say it that way. All right, so now let's talk about Tennessee's D-line. And the first thing that I saw was that everyone looks really good physically. We talked about that too. So this is a quote from one of those sites. They said that Marion Dye, quote, looks like a freak of nature. I said the same thing. For him to look bigger than David Hobbs. David Hobbs, I think, is listed at 6'3" or 6'4", 290. And he plays at tackle, right? Marion Dodd, he's playing at strong side end. If he's bigger than David Hobbs, that should tell you a lot. So we do have some strong side ends. Don Bailey, Tyree West, who it sounds like both of those guys also look good. But those guys play at like 290. It sounds like Marion Dow might already be at 290 as a freshman, and he can move. He's a better athlete than all those guys. He's a good enough athlete that he could go play Leo. He's gonna be a freak. He could be like a top 5 draft pick. He's one of those guys. We were raving about him coming out of high school. Once we see him put those pads on and go to work, we're gonna know for sure. But everything that I've seen up to this point leads me to think that what we saw on his film, I think that was real. So we got an absolute stud. Think about everybody else though. Still got Joshua Josephs, obviously still got Bryson Easton, still got Jackson Moy. It's still got all the other guys inside of that strong side in room. But, thinking about Joshua Josephs, Caleb Herring, Jordan Ross, I mean, that line is loaded. So looking forward to it. But they also talked about Campbell. Looks like he's not a freshman. We talked about that too. I mean, he looks jacked, man. His arms are real big. So that's excellent. And then Hobbs and West, they also looked good physically as well. So Leo, really the only thing that they said here was just that, they look good, they look fast, they look quick, guys are really long. And Emmanuel Okoye, he is back. That's another one that if he's figured things out, we're so loaded, y'all. It is almost sickening. All right, so Leo's D-line looking great. Tight ends. All right, so they talked about Ethan Davis looked really good on the sled, which is huge because that was one of his, really his only issue. I think that physically he looks very, very good. But yeah, on that sled, which is really that's a 2-man sled, but he's able to now lift it easily, like on the pop, boom, pop, lift it up like it ain't nothing. Now it's interesting because one of those sites also said that Brame and Jack also look good on the sled. I didn't see those clips because to me they didn't. I mean, it wasn't where Ethan Davis was at, right? Now, we know with all of our starting tight ends, they could all lift that sled, that double sled with ease. Those young guys wasn't doing that. So I think that they've got a ways to go. That's not good enough. Barely lifting that up, that ain't going to work in the SEC. And there was some times, I almost had to say it, but there were some times whenever our tight ends was getting kind of stuck, you know what I'm saying, trying to go and block folks with a full head of steam. Wham, So you have to be strong. You're going to have to gain the weight. This is not patty cake football. So I'm not saying that those guys are like weaklings or nothing like that. I'm just saying that that's the one thing that I think that they need to work on because the insiders also said that everyone looked good running the routes and all that, which is huge. I think that's going to be big for our passing game. Joey Aguilar does favor tight ends. I think that really all of our guys, pretty much any quarterback, you're going to look for your tight ends, okay? So that, I think, is going to be really critical for our team in 2025. Now, wide receivers. Sounds like Travis Smith looked the best physically. 6'3", 215, 220. and he can move, and he's a dog, and he ain't afraid to talk to you about it either. All right, so love that him as a freshman, one of those guys that his mindset's different. Like I think that for this whole freshman class, we could pretty much say all these guys are on a different level mentally. I would just say these guys are mentally like as a like redshirt sophomore. I think that that's about where these guys are. So that's going to be big. But also, it sounds like Rod had the best catch of the day. Think back to the orange and white game. One had it snag on the sidelines. He's doing that on a consistent basis. You can't keep him off the field. He's going to have to see meaningful snaps, meaningful targets, I think, every single game. And that's kind of how much can we rotate wide receivers, because we have so many guys, it sounds like, that are doing some nice things. But that's it for the wide receivers. So offensive line, things really start to get interesting here. Let me tell y'all who the starting group was. Left tackle, Lance Hurd. Left guard, Wendell Moy. Center, William Satterwhite. Right guard, Jesse Perry. Not Sam Pendleton, Jesse Perry. Right tackle, David Sanders. Now, second group, Jeremiah Hurd. Left tackle. Left guard, Sham Umarov. Center, Max Anderson. Right guard, Sam Pendleton. Right tackle, Brian Grant. And some of the other players, Nick Moore, obviously he was playing at center whenever he got in. Bennett Warren was playing at right tackle whenever he got in. Cade Agumuro, he was playing at right guard. And Gage Ginther was at left guard. So what I think, y'all, this is just me personally. I think that the staff really likes Jesse Perry. I think that they feel like they can't keep him off the field. We talked about how good he looks physically. And going back to last season with all the freshman offensive linemen, he looked the best. And when I say moving bodies, I'm talking about 3, 4, or 5 yards. Like this is a high school offensive lineman's highlight tape. That's how he looked. Okay. Now it was versus like UT, Chattanooga, Kent State, so on and so forth. But even still, it was versus veterans and college players. So that says a lot. He was the only guy that was consistently doing that almost every single time. He's blocking 2 and 3 people. And I think he's probably gained, it looks like, about 20-something pounds since last year. So he can do that, on this level now versus SEC competition is what my whole point is. I think that you might want him starting. Our best lineup, I think that maybe the staff feels like our best lineup could be Sam Pendleton starting at center, and then having Jesse Perry as your right guard, because I don't think that they brought in Sam Pendleton to, back anybody up. I don't. I think that he's going to start somewhere. So we'll see how things change, especially once those pads come on. Now, there is still a world where maybe Sat just holds down center and they say, okay, well, now we got to look at Sam Pendleton versus Jesse Perry. Who's going to win that? I don't know that it's necessarily a slam dunk that Sam Pendleton would be a better right guard than Jesse Perry. I'm just going to tell you, I haven't seen too much, but just looking at the size and the stature and what I do know, I don't know. But we're very deep on this offensive line. Also sounds like Lance Hurd is being a leader. I would like to point out that Wendell Moy, dude, his fundamentals, he fires off. He stays so low. He is so quick. I mean, he's going to be a major, major problem. I love this offensive line. And, because I love it so much, I'm really high on this offense. I think that, we can't help but to run the football in what we average, I think since Heupel's been here, like 5-something yards per carry. Let's just call it a smooth 7 this year. Let's just call it that. Let's call it a smooth 7. Why not 8? We could be close to averaging 8 yards per carry with our running backs, which is unheard of. But I think that the line is that good. I think that they've gotten that much better. And of course, the pass pro also takes that step forward. So I just super high on this offense. I know that it's just day one, but everything that we kind of felt like we would see heading into this, it feels like we actually are seeing it. So that's huge. Now, last thing, y'all, is going to be Tennessee's secondary. Also interesting here that there were 6 guys that played at corner. So corner could be like obviously outside corner and then star, but there were 11 guys playing at safety. They're trying hard to find some people to give us depth there, which is what they should be doing. Now, the guys who played at safety, we had Andre Turrentine, Edris Farouk, Caleb Beasley, Marcus Gorey, J-Mac, Dylan Lewis, Sidney Walton, Tim Merritt, who had actually moved to corner. They moved him right back to safety. That's good. Must mean that he maybe picked up some weight or something. I don't know, but I think that that's very, very positive. Jackson Matthews, Montrell Bandy, and Steele Katina. Those last 3 guys, they're all walk-on players. Montrell Bandy, he has great size. He's like 6'3", 2-something. So we'll see. But yeah, they're trying to find somebody. I felt like, maybe some of these guys like William Wright could have got some burn playing at safety, but at this point, they haven't put him there just yet. Maybe like him better playing at star. So as far as the guys who are playing at corner, Ricky Gibson, Colton Hood, who I think looks really, really good. He looks great. Tyler Redmond, who I absolutely love. And then we have Trey Poteet, William Wright, and also Colin Brazel. So yeah, I mean, dude, I just thinking about the and let me also tell y'all this. So our starters was Ricky Gibson and Colton Hood playing the outside corner. J Mac bumped inside playing at star, which is what we thought would happen. And then we had Idris along with Turntine at safety. Number one, I think that Caleb Beasley has a chance to maybe get one of the starting spots at safety, just based off of coverage that we saw in spring and last year. If Ed took that step forward with the coverage because he's played more safety, I could see him, holding on to that starting spot. But I think that will get mixed and matched around. They're gonna try to figure out who's the other guy next to turn time because obviously he is going to start. Now, just talking about Tennessee's like other corners. I mean, obviously, we have our best cornerback from last season. He's out for like the first few games, whatever. But Ricky Gibson, Colton Hood, from what I've seen so far from Colton Hood, knowing how he played because we broke down his film, we talked about that. I didn't realize how big, how tall and long he actually is. He has great size. I think that we're going to be fine, for like these first couple of weeks, at least hopefully, right? I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same with no drop off, but I think that we will be fine. He's better on the outside. The only things that I really saw that I'm not going to say didn't absolutely love because there were some things that I didn't absolutely love. But the only place that I guess I had a little bit of some question marks with was him playing more in that slot, which would be star. Sometimes he would kind of get lost on those routes, which is why I said outside corner fits him better. Either way, I think that J-Mac, he's more comfortable playing at star. I think that our secondary is going to be perfectly fine versus Syracuse. This will be a great test. Really good test to see, hey, who do we like here? Who do we like there? But moving forward, Tennessee secondary, this is the deepest that it's been. I'm going to go all the way back to Coach Farmer, y'all. I'm going to go all the way back to then because I love everybody in this room. Every single, we've got so many guys that can really play coverage. So we should be looking forward to how the pass coverage looks along with that pass rush. And oh, by the way, they didn't talk about linebackers, y'all, but our linebackers that, pass rush with the blitzing, something that they've, talked about, but also pass coverage takes a big step forward. Run stopping, I think, is going to be perfectly fine, especially with like the top three. After that, I start to wonder some, but I think that we're going to be fine. And then running backs, I think, we have some clips in here. And of course, this thing is kind of like circling around. But as far as backs go, I think that these guys looked good, just physically. Didn't really get to see too many clips, but from what I did see, I think that we've got a really good looking room. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get some more clips of those backs and some things that we didn't get to see today. But that's it for my thoughts. So y'all please share y'all's down in the comment section. And as always, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be talking to y'all later on. Thanks, peace. Thanks for watching, and please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.